Monday. I want to share some of the success stories from this first week of contact tracing. One person that we spoke with had no idea she'd been exposed, but because of the individual who was positive was able to provide good contact information, we were able to talk her through what exposure means and how to effectively quarantine and protect her family and her friends. We also reached a very emotional Hoosier whose spouse had just passed away. She had very diligently kept a diary of every time she had left home and the visitors that had come to her home. She thanked our agent and said she was very grateful to us for calling people to help contain and stop the spread of COVID-19. Another Hoosier had no idea he was positive when he had traveled. He was able to walk through where he had been, identify individuals with whom he had had close contact during that time so that we could help to protect them. Gratitude. One citizen said, the information that we were able to provide her with made her feel much better and much more prepared to care for herself and her family in order to protect them and others by preventing the spread of COVID-19. Our goal is to ensure that people are contacted within 24 hours of their test results so that we can protect their families, their friends, and all of their coworkers. I am incredibly grateful for all of the data that is informing us as we navigate through these 4 guiding principles. These are monumental efforts that will increase our understanding of the burden of COVID-19 and allow us to make the best possible decisions for Hoosiers in these uncertain times. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Buck. Speaking of launched, under the direction of Secretary Schellinger at the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, we launched last week the PPE marketplace. Luke, you want to give us an update on how that's going a week into it?
Yeah, thank you, Governor. Luke Basso, Chief of Staff, IEDC. First, I'd like to give you an update on the PPE procurement donations. To date, the state has secured commitments for more than 16 million pieces of PPE, up from 9 million reported last week, with more than 12 million items already delivered to the state of Indiana. 8 million pieces of PPE have been delivered in the last 10 days. Not only is our business community stepping up to manufacture and source PPE, of the 16 million pieces committed, over 1 million of those have been donated by Indiana businesses. Special thanks to all of our partners, including Cook Medical, Ivy Tech, Herta Autosports, and Fiat Chrysler, who this week alone donated 150,000 pieces of PPE. As announced last week, we launched the Indiana Small Business PPE Marketplace for restaurants, retail, personal service, and office environment. Initially, we were able to fill 10,000 orders through the marketplace. As of today, the initial 10,000 orders have been shipped. Just like any operation, though, there have been some hiccups along the way, and less than 1% of the orders did have minor shipping issues. However, we worked with our logistics partner, and we were able to get those bundles reshipped this week. In total, the marketplace has received more than 20,000 orders since it went live last Wednesday. Through our procurement partnerships, the IEDC has been able to source enough non-medical grade PPE to be able to ship 12,000 additional orders next week. With additional supplies coming in daily, we anticipate we'll be able to announce additional shipments. Once again, I'd like to remind you that all the items in the marketplace are subject to availability, and the marketplace is a secondary source for PPE. You should continue to try and source PPE from other places before coming to the marketplace. While we're happy to be able to supply PPE to help you open your business, our first commitment remains to our frontline workers who continue to fight this virus daily. Again, I would like to thank the Indiana Department of Health and Secretary Schellinger and my colleagues at the IEDC for making the marketplace possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Secretary Lawson, like I said, June 2nd, right around the corner. You've had a lot of, you've had to turn and burn and put in some safety precautions like never before in our state's history, and I suspect that our absentee process is heightened and maybe hyperactive compared to some previous years.
Absolutely, it is. Well, thank you, Governor. Thank you for your continued support. We're 18 days away from the June 2nd primary election, and my office has been working nonstop to make sure that we're prepared for a safe and a smooth election day. It's good to see the COVID numbers are trending in the right direction, but it goes without saying that we all need to remain vigilant in the weeks to come. So my office has been working to supply all 92 counties with personal protective equipment, or PPE, so that poll workers and election staff are properly outfitted for Election Day and early voting. Using the Federal CARES Act appropriation, many of our PPE supplies have been contracted from Indiana suppliers, and this is what we have purchased so far. 5,000 gallons of hand sanitizer and 10,000 refillable dispenser bottles. Over 4,000 gallons of disinfectant cleaner for voting machine and electronic poll book tablets with 10,000 refillable spray bottles. 85,000 12 by 12 microfiber cloths for disinfecting voting machines and electronic poll book touch screens. Over 300,000 pairs of disposable gloves. 200,000 ear loop face masks, 25,000 face shields, and over 3,500 acrylic sneeze guards. We've been very deliberate and careful not to solicit vendors supplying critical care needs as not to interfere with those supply lines. And we received these materials at a state warehouse just a few days ago. Some supplies are being stored as surplus in the event of a recount. Let's hope not. And the rest are being distributed to counties as I speak. Of course, we couldn't have done this alone. The Indiana National Guard has been invaluable and took the lead on receiving and sorting and shipping the supplies to all 92 counties. Shipments started being delivered yesterday. I believe 28 counties received supplies yesterday. And by early next week, all counties will have received their supplies. But without the support of the governor and General Lyles and Colonel Hackett and Major Anderson and all the guardsmen assigned to distribution, we wouldn't have been able to stay on schedule with this project. So it's important to note that these supplies only will cover poll workers and election staff. It does not cover the general public. So for those of you planning to vote early, in person on primary election day, please just, follow the directions that you've heard all along. Wear a mask. If you've got gloves, they're clean. You can wear those to the polling place as well. We want to protect all of you. We all need to do our part to keep our community safe, and I urge you to join our